Okay, OBS reconnected. Huh. I should be streaming again. Let me just refresh this page. Am I still streaming? Oh, are we live? Is this a new video? Oh, God, this is a new stream. Is it? I have no idea. This timer thing at the bottom has changed. I hope that this is still the same stream. You know what? Emergency self-tech support, I guess. Oh, God. Close that window. I don't need that window open. Channel video producer? Nope. Yeah, this is a brand new stream. Great. Well, I'm still gonna stream for the full-time slot. I'm not gonna stop. This just makes things very awkward for the VODs I've been posting. I guess we will, I haven't had that happen yet. I've always heard about OBS crashing on people. That is the first time I've experienced it. I'm probably gonna have to look up to see what triggers that, and find a way to make that not happen. But for now, we can leave this as it is and just pretend like nothing ever happened. Hopefully that'll work. Gotta love it when OBS crashes. This is not in the right spot. Can I move that over a little? Seems to be moved over a smidge. Does that line up? That lines up. Okay. Don't need to select the whole area. Okay, well, we need to select more than that. There we go. Let's follow this line. Next one would be like right here. Yeah, that seems about right. Curves up a bit. That doesn't look right at all. That one's scuffed as shit. Oh, it's too big. Shit. Yeah, it's fine. This about here. I think that might be a bit small, actually. Oh, well. This is the rough. Fix it from here if necessary. And here, just need to keep bringing it up. And this side gets smaller as this side gets bigger. Kinda. That doesn't look right. I'm gonna have to fix that later. Right, am I on the right one? 1, 2, then yeah, here. So it should be more like this almost, right? As it turns up. Yeah, that's why this one doesn't look right. We've got this kind of shape that needs to pull up. It's like this line is here now, and now it's almost perpendicular. I think that's fine. I need to adjust size and shape of these last couple, but they're in the right spot. This one needs to be more like this. Yeah, that's better. Same goes for this one. This one's Point's a little too high. Is the issue. It needs to be a little lower. Kind of like that. Yeah, that looks good. That generally follows the flow. This one needs to be adjusted a bit more, like it should. Kind of look more like this, I think. How's that? No. To just flatten that out. No, that's not right either. How do we get that to work? Let's erase this whole thing. In between here, it should kind of angle itself like this. I think it's more like this. It's the wrong size, but that's a much better shape and angle. Let me just shrink it. Let's make it itty bitty. Does need to sit in the right spot though. Should be about here. Yeah, that works. Zoop. Oh, that is completely the wrong way. And we're gonna have to figure out how to parse this out. Just add that texture up through here. And the next hard part is to add... It's kind of hard to see on this. I might pull up another reference image of this snake. So I'm gonna add that kind of underbelly scale. I might also look at some more art of this one. Art, photography. Photos. Photography. Yeah, we're gonna look that up quick. Push this out of the way, get the keyboard. What's this? A variable bush python? Python. Viper. Atheris squamigra. Atheris squamigra. That is a name. Let's look at some pictures of you. God, this is such a pretty snake. You know what? I'm gonna bring this window down here. Maybe not this one. I should grab the correct one. This has some personal information I don't want to actually accidentally click. We'll bring it up on this one. This one doesn't have any of that stuff. Got 2 different Google accounts for my personal stuff and all the VTuber stuff. Variable bush Viper. Alright, now we'll use this window. Look how pretty this snake is. Oh, it's gorgeous. Those eyes. If I knew this snake couldn't just fucking kill me at the drop of a hat, I would love to own one of these. Like, look at those eyes. Look how cute he is. And the coiling, oh, they're adorable. I want to find a picture that shows its underbelly a bit more, because that's where... Oh, look at that. Somebody's breeding them. It's good to see. I love this blue color. This is where the color scheme actually comes from for my VTuber. As I found... I don't know where it is. It might have been this picture. There's a couple different pictures of, like, a really beautiful looking blue bush viper. And it's just so fucking good looking. Do I have that picture here, sitting here somewhere? Oh, you know what? It might have been on the other... Yeah, I think it was on the other... like the older works I was doing of Yumi that I never finished. So that, I just used a color dropper to get all those for, like, the scales and the hair are all just directly taken from a photo of a variable bush viper. I'm getting distracted again. We need to... We're looking at the dragon snake. It's like, look at this beauty. That is not a good way to look at this snake. Can I can zoom in using my tablet. That's perfect. Look at how pretty these snakes are. Okay, we've got a thing here. Look at those. Look at that face. There are no thoughts in that head. It's adorable. Alright, that's not a great picture. I don't think these are venomous either, which is nice. Xenodermis javanicus? Oh, look how small he is. It's adorable. Look at these little goobers. Okay, now we're getting away from actual snakes. See if I can just... Underbelly? Not quite what I'm looking for. That is Dragonite, not anything else. It's always a danger searching here, because you never know when you're just gonna get hit. You know what? Scientific name. This'll hopefully... That might unfortunately be a dead snake. That's sad. What the hell? That's an... I think that's a shed happening there. That's interesting looking. Yeah, so what I'm seeing there's what I thought was a layer of scales might just be a coloration piece. It's like the... Yeah. Okay, I was thinking there was another line of these kinds of scales right at the base of the underbelly. And that doesn't look like it's the case. Yeah, it's exactly what I thought it was. So it's like a lighter hue in the middle, and then it gets really dark around the edges. Okay. Oh, he's eating a fish. I think that's a fish. Neat. Alright, that's enough gushing over snakes. I love those little things. Well, not little. Some snakes get really fucking big. God, it was one of, like, the first animes I ever watched. I think it was called, like, Pet Shop of Horrors or something. I remember, it was all about, like, this pet store that sold regular animals, but they had a lot of tie-ins with, like, yokai and cryptids and shit. So I remember this, one of the episodes was about a guy who was housing a lot of exotic reptiles, and he picked up, I think it was a reticulated python from the store. It's one of the, just gonna... Shouldn't have closed the Google window. I'm going on a tangent again. Yeah, this is, I think, the correct snake. Yeah, reticulated python. This big yellow motherfucker. These guys are fucking huge. Pretty chill snakes, to be honest, though. Like, a lot of people keep these as pets, despite their size. But yeah, the story was that this guy bought one of these, and it was, like, supposed to be Medusa or a Gorgon or something. Like, it was half playing off of, like, I guess the myth of Medusa, the Gorgon, or Basilisk. You know, the big snake turns you to stone, that kind of thing. Snake that kills you. But it was also played off as, like, a weird love story, I think. And it may or may not have been reference to a few cases where people who own this snake actually get eaten by it because they're neglecting it. big fucking animal, and it's got a... Doesn't eat as much as you would expect it to, but it still eats a fair amount at once. It's like, these are the kinds of things that go out, they hunt a fucking, like, gazelle or whatever, something around that size, eat it, and then don't eat for, like, 2 months. So that's just how long it takes them to digest it. These guys will just neglect the snakes. Snakes start starving. They get out. It's like, oh, this thing is about the size of food I eat. I can fit it in my mouth, so I'm going to eat it. So there's a couple stories of these guys out there who've just been fucking eaten by their own pythons. And it's, at least to my memory, it's like always been a case of animal neglect is why that happens. Going off on weird tangents again, talking about snakes. And tie that into an earlier topic. I was talking about, like, yeah, career paths in life. Basically, I had 3 laid out for me. I was either going to be a paleontologist and go dig up dinosaur bones. So apparently, my parents tell me it occasionally. It's like, oh yeah, you were a smart kid. You knew what you wanted to do. It's like, yeah, every time you said you wanted to be a paleontologist, everyone's like, oh, an archaeologist? You want to go dig up the past? Like, no, I want to be a paleontologist. I want to go dig up dinosaurs. Because I'm that kind of autistic. Dinosaurs, trains, dragons. I have the brain of a fucking 8-year-old boy. It is full of nothing but robots and dragons and dinosaurs and trains and stuff. God, I'm autistic. Yeah, it was either a paleontologist, and then throughout high school... Was it high school? No, it was like... After I stopped being a little kid. It's like, okay, and you kind of understand what goes into having a job. It's like, oh, you can't just be whatever you want to be. You have to, like, actually have the proper credentials and the proper education and all that. And I hated school as a kid. Like, there was a couple subjects I liked, but, like, English can suck my ass. Terrible subject. Never learn it. Never learn how to speak English, kids. It's one of the worst languages out there. I say as a filthy monolingual who can only speak English. But yeah, one of the subjects I really liked was, like, science, biology, and that, and it was around that kind of time period where it's like you start really understanding what goes into work, like having an actual job. And it's like, okay, paleontologist is probably out of reach for me, because, like, I don't like traveling, I don't like being out in the hot sun. I do like digging holes, but it's less about that, and, like, there's a lot of other stuff that goes into it, because then you got, like, the whole museum curation side of it, and it's like, this is too much for my 12-year-old brain to handle. Well, I will always love dinosaurs. What's the next best thing? Oh, I know, reptiles. And it kind of devolved into this fascination. Like, it started with frogs for me. I really liked frogs as a kid. It's like, really liked frogs, like, autistically. So whenever we went to my aunt's, I'd always go catch frogs. Called it frogging. Like fishing, but for frogs. And kind of, I think it was like the 4th grade. I was going through some shit. Seeing a therapist that was like, I want to say they were in the fucking States, which is weird, but whatever. And like, I was talking to my parents, like, hey, can I have a pet? I want to get a pet frog. I'm looking at all these different frog species and that, and we get to the pet store after one of these appointments. And we're looking at the exotic, I guess the exotic section, you know, the reptiles and amphibians. I'm looking at all the frogs, and you start seeing the other animals there. You see the snakes, it's like, oh, we're not getting a snake. My mom will never let me have a snake in the house. And then I see a little goofy-looking fella there, leopard gecko, and ever since then, I have had that leopard gecko for 18 years now, I think. He's my little old man, my weird-looking dog that only barks sometimes. And he is probably my best friend and closest confidant, because he will hear everything from me and all of my grievances about everything, because he's a captive audience who gets paid in food, water, shelter, and head scratches. No, more like rubs. I don't really scratch him because I don't want to hurt him. Yeah, it was kind of a the beginning of a rabbit hole where I fell down the path of herpetology, and studying reptiles and amphibians and all that. It's like, oh, I could be one of these, maybe not a scientist, but like a breeder. I could keep lizards and snakes in my house and breed them. And that's how I could make my income, and I could be happy with that. And never got around to that. It's like, I'm glad I didn't. There's so much more that goes into the breeding side of keeping reptiles that I just didn't know about. And I'm so glad that I never really got into that kind of field. So I have a lot of respect for the people who do. I follow a lot of people online who do this kind of thing, 'cause it still fascinates me. It's just the amount of, I want to say, uncertainty that comes in that kind of field. And like, you're starting to play, I almost want to say you're like playing God in a sense. So now you're messing around with like different genomes and shit, which is really fucking scuffed. Is that correct? I think this whole section past here doesn't need to exist. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, that more or less covers that section of scale. Yeah, I did, wasn't until like midway through high school. You start looking at colleges, and it's like, okay, now you gotta seriously think about what do you want to do for your career. And I decided I'm going to follow in the footsteps of my father. I'm going to learn how to animate. I'm going to learn how to do classical art. I'm going to get good at it. I'm going to find a job in the field, and it's going to be great. I get to work doing what I love. College was so different to high school. I came in there with like a borderline dropout high schooler mentality, and that really fucked me over, among some other mental health stuff that I'm not going to delve too deep into. Like, my first... I failed, like, most of my classes in my first semester for a variety of reasons. One of the big ones being, I just picked a really bad operating system for my, my laptop at the time, and lost, like, 4 months worth of work due to a known issue with, I believe it was Windows 8.4.1? It's a Windows 8 thing. There was just some, like, this specific stock install. It's like, I am the kind of person who never fucking updates Windows. And, I try to do it now more, especially after this, but, like, there was an issue with that stock set on the operating system. They'll just factory reset PC. And I lost like 2-3 months worth of work right before a bunch of assignments had to be handed in, and it fucked me. Like, losing that much work was devastating. Let's get working on that head a bit, I guess. Well, stick with everything else while I ramble. I want to look into more snakes and see what kind of head I want to slap on there. So I'm thinking Python for the most part right now. Yeah, I lost a lot of work, and then it's like, oh, now I can't hand in all these assignments. I don't have the time to make them up, and just, it was this big fucking spiral. mostly, if not entirely, was my fault. Especially looking at it in hindsight. But I tried going back. I did all the, like, in-paper courses that everything was more, like, traditionally done. I wasn't enjoying it. Like, I enjoyed drawing and the act of creating things. I didn't really figure it out till I went back to college for a second time. So I think it was, like, take a break. Or went to college, took a break, went back to college. And it just didn't go well. Let's put this... Okay, come on, there we go. Nope, that's gonna... There we go. Like, I went back to a different college for, not animation, but like a general arts kind of deal. Damn it. Gotta rotate this. Come on. Are we? There we go. We don't want to do that. I just want to rotate it so it's straight on the body. I'll just put that there for now, and that will have to work. I don't know how I switched over to that window, but alright. Fix this. I ended up dropping out of college twice. And my sister's in university now, so... Bit of a blow to my ego, but good for her. Took me a long time to realize that, like, the education system really doesn't work well for me and my specific disabilities and inclinations for learning. Which sucks to learn and realize after college. How does that sit like this? I'm just gonna try and mimic this freehand for now. More round at the front. How's that? Look at a distance. Not good. We might just trace small patches of that snake scale. Let's look at it again. So yeah, they're like teardrop shaped, not diamond. Let's try like this, maybe. And they do kind of like this little diamond-esque pattern. This is super sketched out, but that's kind of closer to what I'm looking for. They need to be a bit more compressed. Let's try like here. And then like here. How's that look? It's fine, I guess. Just do maybe another one here. How do I keep doing that? Why and how? There's my cursor. Is it because I'm scrolling up here? Ah, okay, that's why. Yeah, that looks terrible. Let's just get rid of it. There was a point to this tangent. Just trying to remember what it was. I got distracted. But, yeah, I ended up dropping out of college a second time. Finally came to the realization, like, yeah, this isn't for me. I should try and, I guess, just go into the workforce. I can throw, earn money, enjoy my hobbies. And that's a whole other nightmare. I just have To draw over these scales, kind of compress them like that, and if we erase this, how does that look? That is a lot better. I might erase this bit too, just because we like keep the curvature there, but kind of erase it in there. Yeah, that looks a lot better. We're gonna go with this. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when I first kind of found the VTubing space, because I know it was like one of the first VTubers I ever watched was Pikami. God rest her soul. She did not deserve what happened to her. I will die on that hill. And anyone wants to call me out otherwise for that, I will fight you. Pikami did nothing wrong. She just wanted to play the goofy little wizard game. It's like, I don't care about the whole J.K. Rowling situation. Like, yes, I can see it in my fucking tags. I am trans. And I am saying this here and now. The Goofy Wizard game, by playing that game or enjoying it, doesn't make you transphobic. One's character should not be judged on what kind of video games they like. Unless it's League of Legends, then you judge them immensely. Because they are definitely a sweaty gamer nerd. I should know. I used to play League. Yeah, Pikami was like the first VTuber I really saw and kind of immersed myself in the space. I didn't get super deep into it. It's like, oh yeah, that's neat. And definitely didn't help that my one roommate was really fucking weird about it. Like, he was, I want to say, like, one of those, like, hyper fans. But, like, zero fucking chill. Like, not to knock. Like, if you have something you like something, whatever. It's like, he was weird about it. The guy was just kind of weird in general, so it might have been that more so than anything else. That's besides the point. I've like always had a bit of a passive interest in like the VTubing and streamer space, and it wasn't until recently it was like, fuck it. I can do this. I can do it myself. I mean, I don't have a model yet, but that's what this is for. This is so I have artwork that I can use to commission people to make more artwork, so I can design a reference sheet, and this is the first domino. Realistically, the first domino is actually the PFP that I've got down on my Twitch thing. That was one of the first things I drew, and it's... I liked it when I made it. I like it a lot less now. I'm probably going to swap it out for just a still shot of... Okay, I don't know what I did there. Still shot of my head here. And I think that'll just look a lot better. It wasn't until, like, somewhat recently that I kind of made this idea. It's like, yeah, I can totally do this. I can stream. I can be in this space. And, like, I'm not under no illusions that this is going to be a massively successful venture for me. I mean, I'd like it to be. I'd love to turn this into a career. That'd be amazing. But I don't think that that's, at least at the moment, realistic. Which is regrettable, but understandable. Okay, I need to get rid of these. Okay, it might be easier to just use... I don't know why I'm using my mouse there. over the last, like, couple months, I've really tried to immerse myself in the space, and it all kind of came to this big pivot. My previous job, where it's like, yeah, I just can't do this anymore, man. That job paid really well, but was just absolutely destroying me. I'm coming out of that job with, at the bare minimum, 2 permanent injuries. Which, yippee. It's the kind of shit that's like, I'm not gonna get workers' comp for this. I mean, it's whatever. It's not like I lost an arm in a fucking hydraulic press or something. It's just, it hurts to walk now. Sometimes. I need to change the angle again. Like, oh no, it hurts to walk sometimes. It fucking sucks, but I mean, I more or less got my health still, which is fine. It's not great, but it's fine. The big one was, like, I threw out my back during this. And it's like, I didn't have a great back to begin with. I was born with a curvature in my spine, and as a kid I broke my spine. That's a funny story. I'll go into that one on a later date. Like, just, I got fed up with the job and just couldn't do it anymore. I ended up going on, like, a bunch of medical leave and talking with my doctors and all that. And it's like, yeah, no, this shit's fucked. Shit is fucked. I've basically been deemed unfit to work, so we're having fun with that. Just don't let the dread set in. It's all that matters. You're still just scribbling, but that's fine. This is just to get texture in. Mix up some of these so I can put the, like that, I guess would be like that triple scale kind of setup I was doing earlier. Yeah, after taking some medical leave and just kind of doing nothing for like a month, it's like, yeah, fuck it, I can't do this. I gotta figure out something else. It's like, I've always been interested in this space. And it's just one of those things like, fuck it, give it a shot. Don't let your dreams be memes. And I'm so glad I did. I've integrated myself into a couple different communities now, which never would have happened at my previous job. Like, I can genuinely say that this change into streaming and being a VTuber has been almost nothing but positive. I think the only negative right now is that I am making literally nothing for doing this. And by all technicalities, it's costing me money, because I'm still need to buy some, like, tools and shit to make this work. It's like, I don't own a webcam, so like, tracking is an issue. I don't feel comfortable using my phone, because, like, I don't know what's going on with my PC. Kind of scuffed. In the event that people who are tech literate watch this part of this half of the stream, if y'all can just shoot me a message about how to fix a display driver, I think it was. I got a message or notification or whatever about, like, there's something wrong with my again, I think it's a display driver. And every so often, like, one monitor cuts out, and everything else just kind of freezes up a little. And then sometimes monitors just don't turn on when I boot my computer, and then I gotta reach in behind them, and I gotta unplug the cables, plug back in. That gets them working again. Don't know what's causing that. Need to talk to somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're doing, because God knows I don't. I am fairly illiterate when it comes to that aspect of tech. Which I should probably put some time into learning how that stuff works. That'd be helpful. Yeah, this whole VTubing thing has been good, though. It's like, at the very least, if the VTubing aspect of it doesn't really work out for me, the skills I'm learning here are still going to be beneficial in other fields. Like, maybe I don't end up being a VTuber. Maybe I end up being an artist for a different VTuber. That would still be good. Like, maybe I can't get my own model off the ground, but I can make emotes for somebody in the future. That's the kind of, I almost want to say, blind optimism I'm working off of right now. Yeah, that looks fine. Nice and textured. It's also just a good way to let me ramble into the void about whatever's going on in my brain at the time. I don't know how often I'll make these kind of like art streams. I don't know how frequent these will be. I love drawing. My brain doesn't like drawing too much. It's oddly stressful. Am I not in the window where I can draw? I am in the... Oh. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Fucking... dumbass. Dumbass idiot. The fucking eraser's on. You goober. Good place to let me go on tangents about nothing. It's like everything I've been, I guess, talking about is more or less already resolved, aside from that computer issue I was literally just talking about. But that's a unique scenario. So we're still getting everything, I guess, put back together after a very unfortunate incident of my hard drive failing. Shit, that's right. I just remembered something I have to do after this. I need to reinstall my 3D printing software. Told a friend I'd print them some stuff if they got me the resin. I don't intend on backing out of that deal, because I have things I want to print, and if they're giving me resin, I can take what's left over and print stuff myself. I want to try and make like a ball-jointed doll. I want to make it make Yume. So I think that would be really cool and cute. I'd love to do that. I think I watched, this idea really came to me recently. Like, I've always wanted to do the ball-jointed doll, but originally it was... Where are you? It's pixelated as fuck. Let's zoom out a little. You! This is Heath. They are from a series. They're from a... I think it's a manga. Might be a doujin. Not actually sure on the correct terminology for that one exactly. But they're from a book called Beauty and the Beast Girl. This is Heath and this is Lily. And this book is by far one of my favorite things I have ever read. It quite literally changed my perspective of self. The artist is on Twitter. I believe it's Neji Rinbu. Might have that wrong. Either way, go read it. It's good. It's a great romance series about a monster girl and a blind girl. I will say though, if I had any complaints about that book, Lily's name is just a little. Well, it's both uninspired and goofy. Her full name is Lily Blind. It might be pronounced Blind, I'm not sure. Either way, it's spelt blind, or at least the translation I was reading spelled it that way. So I have not been able to get my hands on a physical copy of this book, and I am both coping and seething over the fact. But originally, it's like, yeah, I'll make a ball-jointed doll out of not out of, but make a ball-jointed doll of Heath. Because I have never related as much to a character as I have with Heath. So, like, obviously, pretty much anything I read, I can find some sort of draw and self in a character. I think that most people can when they're looking at media. You know, the oh shit at me kind of thought process. Like, Heath struggles with a lot of identity issues, in a sense. And as someone who is transitioning, I can relate to that immensely. Yeah, this tangent has... It doesn't have a point, but it goes somewhere else, at least. So, I was originally planning on making the ball-jointed doll of Heath, but now I'm thinking I can make it of my character, of Yume. Can make me, and this inspiration kind of struck me. I don't know who I was watching. It's one of those things. I followed a couple people back in the day that kind of worked in this space. I still follow a lot of people that do, like, I guess, crafting style videos. Thinking like Studson, North of the Border, those kinds of creators. Nerdforge, I think, is another one. Could have that wrong, I'm not entirely certain. But anyway. Point is, I saw somebody make a really good-looking doll of Doki Bird. And it's like, oh, it just kind of hit me, just in the face. It's like, oh, I can just make a doll of Yume. That is something I can totally do. I have the tools, I more or less have the skills. And... Oops. Wrong button. That would be a neat thing to have. Just Yume. I can probably make like a little stand or something, just prop her up on one of my monitors. That'd be fun. Because you also see all these, like, I think they're classified as, like, kinetic sculptures. You know, the dragons and shit, and it's like weirdly segmented, kind of like this. You got the head and the tail keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and all these pieces can kind of wiggle. I think that would be neat. Like, do that. Put a wire running through it. And that could be the tail. Obviously not with these little legs. That was just for demonstration. Yeah, that's something I definitely want to do. But I gotta clean up that whole desk. I also have to put on more night core. If I get a strike on my channel from this stream, the night core will go away. If I don't, we'll probably continue until I do. Or at least until I find a better, I guess, backing track? I don't know. But for now, this is what we have. Oh, God. Yeah, this happens sometimes. Hold on. Just gotta... are you still doing the speed up thing? Okay, you're not doing the speed up thing anymore. Sometimes when I click into Krita, if there is like a video or something playing in the background, it'll just speed up. And it's like, oh, man, that's mildly annoying. It's whatever. It's really a non-issue. Alright, we're almost at the head. One of the ideas I had when I was originally designing the Chimera tail, which I might implement in the future, but for now is probably just gonna stay a pipe dream. Anyway, you see with like other bigger VTubers, you got the little thing that's chat. It's like Chibidoki has that, I don't know what it is. I want to say it makes me think of Sylveon. Little like creature. I think Cinder has one too. Buff has the little dog. And like people have the, you know, a little dude that talks through TTS. I thought it would be neat to make the snake the TTS chat. I think it's TTS, text to speech. Yeah, TTS. I thought that would be neat. I don't know how realistic that is. I just thought it was a cool idea. Where I can't see, the mic's in the way. There we go. Just straighten you out. That's our scale texturing more or less done. Looks lumpy as hell. I love it. It's perfect. Lumpy boy. Might be fun just to kind of go through some of the inspiration here for the reference boards. Yeah, like leg structure. I'm gonna up my cursor size so it's actually visible. So yeah, you got the Digitigrade legs, Heath for obvious reasons, because Monster Girl. I've got sharp teeth, so we're looking at Yulha, along with like hair texture. Same with Ethel. Well, this one's less for Ethel, more for Ramthal. A fun little side thing on this picture here, actually. I found this before I started playing Guilty Gear. I had no idea who these two characters were, and since starting this project, Ethel has become one of my favorite characters in the fighting game, along with Baiken, who is over here. We've got, I forget your name, but the goat girl from Killing Bites. It's a pretty good manga. Very violent, though. Again, with, like, the tired eyes, the sharp teeth. This is Pinocchio P's reincarnation apple, I believe. Snake tongue for tongue reference. Kuroko from Murcielago. Again, there's the goat girl. Goat horns for texture. This is a figure I used to kind of block out the pose. I was having a lot of trouble figuring out how to foreshorten this arm. And I don't think it quite worked out how I wanted it to, but it's fine. Yeah, this is just here's like how do I get these horns to kind of curl in the way I want? Where's the patches of fur and all that? And got the... This is more here for color reference. This is for, like, leg reference, because the Wyverians from Monster Hunter have this kind of digitigrade leg structuring, which I just love digitigrade legs. When I was in... Not even in college, all the way back in high school, I was really fascinated with, like, ecology and, like, bone structure. How does something work? Because, like, just do a quick little doodle here to explain. When you think about the skeleton, they're all almost the same outside of, like, let me just shrink that down, like, it's like you've got kind of 3 ideas. You've got fish, and then, like, which have a very different skeletal structure to pretty much everything. Snakes are the same way, with their very long bit thing going on here. And then you've got a difference between, like, birds and everything else with their hip bone, because, like, ours is more wide, which is kind of like this-ish. Really shitty drawing, but whatever. And then birds are really fucking narrow, because they've got this huge, like, long bone that goes up and down their back. And it's, like, really... I could draw a better one if I was looking at it. This is entirely off of memory, and all of my memory of bird-shaped bone is more so to do with profile views rather than forward. So, but that's the gist of it. Like, when you look at pretty much everything that is a vertebrate, has a skeleton, we all more or less follow the same logical construction. So you've got your head, your spine, your ribs, your hip, your shoulders, your legs, and your arms. And they are divided into different things, and then you have the feet. I totally just drew over that scale like a fucking idiot. Whoops. I'll just erase up this and move up here so I can kind of explain it better. This is a subject that I'm very fascinated by and really like talking about. Because, like, when you think about it, you've got... We'll draw a quick little person here. You have a human head, you've got your neck, your rib cage, your spine, your hips, your legs, your knees, your shins, and your feet. And you've got your shoulders, arms, elbows, rest of arms, and hands. And the only points in which our skeletons really diverge between vertebrates is specifically at the hands and the feet. So, like, if we just discount these more or less, this is a horse. I can show you. It's like I said, skull, shoulders, ribs, that. Skull, neck, ribs, hips, leg, foot, leg, hand, and then the spine protrudes out a little bit past there. That's a horse. That is the same construction as a person, because, like, you got your hands and feet. They are just different at the hands and feet. But we have basically the exact same rib cage, hip structure, and skull. Like, even if you look at skulls individually, they all kind of function the same way. Eye hole, nose hole. And then you've got an upper jaw and a lower jaw. With very few exceptions, this is how skulls are generally structured. And this is one of the things that like really makes me fascinated about playing around with anatomy. Is like how does this work? How does Mizutsune's body work? How does the skull sit? How do the organs fit into the skull? I was like, going back at it, to this here, you can see it in the bones. These are all highlighted to show the exact same thing. You have the tibia, and then like your shin bone, and the bone behind the shin bone. And then you've got the ankle, the toes, like the foot, like ankle, foot, toes, leg, lower leg, ankle, foot, toes, nail. So it's the same construction. And this is nearly universal across vertebrates, with the few exceptions of animals like snakes and birds. And even with birds, it's only at the hip, and I guess technically the face, because they've got the beak going on, but that's basically teeth. A bird's teeth are just stuck on the outside of its head, which is a terrifying statement. It's one of those things that I love figuring it out. Cause now you get to play around with it a bit more. So when you think of centaur, you've got rib cage, spine, hip, leg. And then the spine comes here. Now where you would have the horse's head, it just continues as a spine into another rib cage, shoulder blades, arm, neck, head. That's a centaur. Because I got in this discussion with a friend the other day about how would a giraffe centaur work. Would it be horse body or giraffe body, long neck, human torso? Or would it be body, torso, neck, head, like this? And as cursed as it sounds, it's this. If you have a giraffe centaur, it's just a regular centaur with a freakishly long neck. You don't bring the torso up there, because the torso is connected to the spine, not the neck. The spine's made out of a bunch of different shaped bones, and I don't remember. It's like the C whatever vertebrae. So you can kind of map it out, because giraffes basically do the same thing, except their vertebrae are much bigger than ours. That's how they get the big neck. Unless I am speaking out of my ass there, I haven't really looked at a giraffe skeleton. Let's do that now. Yeah, they just have really thick vertebrae in their neck. Just quickly bring this down here. You can see giraffe just have thick vertebrae in their neck. So which means the spine... Oh, that's... I just got jump scared by the fucking giraffe skeleton on my other monitor that's recording this stream. There's a bit of a time delay. Okay, so you just have a centaur with a really thick neck and a really long neck. Which, also, they'd probably just basically die immediately because of how much fucking blood you need pumped to our brain to make it function. That's the whole thing with, like, why Godzilla doesn't work in real life. I'm trying to remember what this, I think it's called, like, the study of speculative biology. I've always found it... Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. I've always found it fascinating, because you can use it to look at something that isn't real and give it logic. So, like, I talked about it earlier with, like, the idea that you have a second set of eyes on another head that can be moved independently and how it sees. I'm not sure that would actually work without having a second brain. I'm not too versed in how, like, the nervous system works in people, or animals, for that matter. Like, a lot of my knowledge is surface level, for lack of a better word. It's like, if given enough time, I can understand and elaborate on things, but generally speaking, a lot of my information is surface level and semi-anecdotal. A lot of it, how to describe it? I am not explaining myself well here. Anecdotal is not the right term. I guess circumstantial might be it. Like, a lot of my information is extrapolated based off what I do know. So like I said, I know how a skeleton is constructed, and I've looked at other skeletons, like, okay, all these skeletons are constructed the same way. Logically speaking, you can basically say the same thing about an organ system. Things get complicated when you add extra heads, because chimerism in reality and having, like, conjoined twins in that is very complicated. Especially when it comes to, like, the conjoined twin aspect, where you've got two people stuck together. It's like, at what point do they become a separate entity? And, okay, that might be phrased incorrectly. At what point do they become divergent, we'll say? It's like, if you just look here, like, really, really shitty stick figure drawing, they separate at, we'll say, the shoulder. So they've got two shoulders, their arms are connected into the frame, and left and right arm, and then you've got neck, head. So their torso would be extended, and the legs in that would just be normal. So they have two legs, one midsection, but their torso is split into two. So it's like they've got 1.5 torsos, 75% of two different torsos. So how would that function both skeletally and skeletally and like, how would the organ system function? So, like, the spine would have to, like, split, and I imagine it's like you got the spine splitting, then you've got, like, the ribs, and the ribs are probably fused between this point. You've got the sternum, then there's probably like a really bad weak point in this section here, where the rib cage is fused to each other, but not to, like, the other sternum. Like, the two ribs are welded together and creating this kind of weird divide here. Expanding upon that, you start looking underneath the ribs. It's like, okay, so you've got the esophagus into the lungs. So it's like, do they have 2 lungs? Do they have 3 lungs? Do they have, like, 2 half lungs? Is it like 2 half lungs, 3 lungs, 2 lungs? I don't know. I have never, and I don't expect to ever dissect a conjoined entity. Like, you can continue that down further. It's like, okay, you follow the digestive tract. You've got the 2 esophagus. Do they have 2 separate stomachs? Or is it just one stomach that is connected, like the 2 esophagus connect somewhere and enter one stomach? Or is it the 2 esophagus enter at different points into the stomach? And to that matter is like, okay, you go past the stomach. What about, like, the intestines? Do they have, like, 2 intertwining intestines that connect somewhere down the line to just end at one point? It's like, what about hearts? Especially when you consider that, like, humans on the surface are very symmetrical, but internally, we are not symmetrical. So when somebody is conjoined kind of like down this middle, the hearts on the... Oh, God. I feel like an idiot for not knowing this. The heart's on, like, the left side of your body. So, like, if you've got somebody conjoined down here, they have just one heart for both of them? Or is there, like, another heart that somehow managed to mishmash its way into the middle? I don't know. This is a lot where, like, speculative biology comes into play. Is like, how might this work? Because I don't know for sure. I'm not a doctor. I don't plan on ever being a doctor. Don't take medical advice from me. I'm talking out of my ass. Like, when it comes to speculative biology, we look at Yume. Like, you've got the mouth, neck, esophagus, all the normal human bits, and then snake attached to her ass. How does that work? Does the snake have its own ass? Do they share an ass? Do they have two separate digestive tracts? Does the snake connect to the normal digestive tract? Does the snake have its own set of organs, hearts, lungs, and all that shit? Or is it all just shared under one body? I'm actually not too familiar with how snake organs work. I'm much more familiar with their skeletons. Like, I know they have, like, the full digestive tract, lungs, liver, all the normal organs, plus... I think it's an organ. I could be wrong. I don't feel like I'm wrong on this, but they have, like, a venom gland. Is a gland an organ? Anyway. Like, where does the snake begin and where do the snake and the person meet? What is shared? What is unique? It's like, do the eyes work? Can you smell out of the snake? Can you taste from the snake? Do you control the snake? Does the snake have its own will? That's something that has always fascinated me, especially when you start adding in the idea of, like, conjoined. Like, when you look at, I don't know their name. They were on TV for a while. It was like a TLC thing or something. It was like a reality show about these girls who were conjoined twins and how their life went. Never watched it. I only saw the ads for it. But the one thing I did know is that, like, they are two separate people. Which is interesting. It makes sense when you think about it from a natural perspective, which I've got lore written up for Yume. She is not natural. She is an artificial being created for research purposes. So, like, especially, it's even more strange when you consider, like, this is two different things. This is mammalian, and this is reptilian. Not typically a pairing that mixes together. Because, like, when you think about it, I don't know what the term is. I'm just going to keep saying conjoined twins. When you think about conjoined twins in a biologic sense, you start with, like, an egg. It starts dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing and dividing, and it keeps going and going and going, and eventually that becomes a little person. And my understanding could be incorrect. I've never delved too deep into this. It's like, conjoined twins happen when you're having twins. Because there's a thing that happens in... I think it's in vitro, is the term. Is where, like, you could be pregnant with two little creatures, but then one eats the other. And this is how chimerism happens in nature. If you're unfamiliar with what chimerism actually is, it is taken from the Greek beast, the chimera. But the terminology in the medical field is based off of somebody who has two different sets of DNA, or, sorry, two or more. Which usually happens when one twin is absorbed in vitro. And we're talking a complete absorption. Or maybe not complete. Near complete, maybe? Again, a little hazy on the details. There's a lot of scientific jargon that I'm not sure. But basically, it's the furthest thing you can get from being one set of... Like, you got the double helix of DNA. A person with chimerism has two. This is from absorbing their twin in vitro. And how you get a conjoined twin is they don't finish absorbing the twin. That's also how you get those like, people who have small... what is the term? I guess it's still just conjoined twin. They got like the little dudes hanging off their face or whatever. So I know there's a story about this guy who just had an evil face on the back of his head that would whisper him horrible things. I don't know how true that's... Don't want to zoom, I want to erase. I don't know how true that story is, but... It's, same idea. Again, all ties back to speculative biology. How do you make this work? So that's very important for my lore stuff and my reference sheet, because this is just part of Yume. Yume is not just the more or less human thing here, and if it wasn't obvious already, a huge inspiration to my model and what I want to do in this space is a huge inspiration of that is Junpei Actis. I have a lot of respect for her, and I love her model, and moths are just great. I love moths. Where was I? Right, so yeah, it's like, Yume wasn't always this. Not a humanoid. It started off as some little thing. Little gremlin creature. Something like that. This is probably the first time I've actually put any thought into what Yume is as a chimera. The whole lore is basically artificial creation made for experimentation. People playing God, that's the general idea. We made a life form. What can we do with it? What are the limits of it? And eventually it's like, oh wait, shit. I'm aware. I am a sentient being. This sucks. I don't want to... I don't like being sentient. These people are poking and prodding and dissecting me, and it hurts. And somewhere along the lines, the lore's not fully fleshed out. It's like, yeah, there's a person. I like this thing. This thing is my friend. I like it. I'm gonna steal it. Take it home. And the problem is like, okay, yeah, I'm free. Now what? What do I do? And it's kind of where I'm stuck at with the lore. Is like, okay, you have your freedom. I know what happens later after this. But like, what about? It's like we have the start. This is the whole time at the facility. You are picked up by the person. Shit gets real. Stuff, bad things happen. Worst thing happens. Humanoid. It's actually more like worst thing happens, humanoid, start a business. Works at a bar. That's why the like, my moniker online is the World's Edge Bar. That's the idea here. This is where the bar is. Like, this is just the general timeline of, like, we are here. This is where we are. This is my history. The fuck am I doing here? I gotta figure out this, and I gotta figure out this. And there's also a little bit of, like, over here that needs to be figured out. But considering I just started doing lore yesterday, I'm very happy with it. I got a bunch of other little fun tidbitty facts on, like, oh, what's the personality like? Maybe some likes and dislikes. I don't have those yet, but, like, I've got height, I've got weight, I've got the 3 sizes, I've got how their name is spelled and the origins of their name. It's like, I'm a fucking weeb, so my name, the name is... I also like names that have meaning behind things. Like, it's just, okay, Steve. Okay, well, why are you named Steve? Why are you named what you are? I was like, I don't know, sounded neat. They're like, I mean, sure, whatever. It doesn't interest me, so I wanted to give them a name that meant something. So I ended up with, with Yume. Got a really scuffed fucking thing. It's like, I searched around for a bunch of different names, a bunch of different languages, to try and find the general theme that worked well for what I wanted to do with the character. Because the whole idea is almost in a sense of a shepherd. Like, I exist here to guide people who are lost or have been led astray. That's what the bar's for. You'll find it when you need it, and you're either going to go back to your normal life or do something else. The details on that are still a little hazy, but that's why we workshop these. It's like, I'm running through, I think I went through like 10 different languages trying to find a name that, 1, sounded good, 2, matched my themings, and along the way it's like, okay, let's go for the one that makes the most sense to me. Again, I'm a fucking weeb. I watch anime. How can you expect me not to be a weeb? I'm listening to Nightcore right now. And I ended up coming back to Japanese. You come to read a lot of manga and all that. It's like, okay, names have meaning. Maybe not in the direct sense of the name itself, but how the name is written has meaning. So I settled, and I could be wrong on this. I do not speak the language. I do not fully understand the language. I'd like to. I have tried learning it a few times, and it's just not sticky. Okay, the eraser's on. So I settled on Yume, which is divided. So Yume, which I believe, if I'm looking at my notes correctly, is written like this in katakana. The general idea is it's the... I worked my way backwards from kanji, because that's where a lot of the meaning is. Kanji can represent... a single kanji can kind of represent a whole idea, or a specific thing. It's like... I'm doing this off memory, so I'm probably wrong. Like fire. Like that by itself is fire, and that there, it is fire, but it also is... I don't know. I'm definitely getting this wrong, but it's like its own phrase. So it's like different parts. So we have Yume, which again, katakana. If I switch back to kanji, if I kind of look at it here, it's like this. Totally fucking this up, but it's fine. It's like down, and then like this. Like that's you. That's the kanji to guide. Then you've got me. I am probably getting this fucking wrong too. I've got my notes up on another monitor, and these are fucking tiny. It's hard to read them. without zooming in. I don't know if I can do that on a fucking notes app. Like, that's meh, which means to be, for someone to be astray or lost. So the idea is to guide those who are lost or those who have been led astray. And in kind of a double meaning, it can also mean to guide someone astray, which is fun, because that is very much what happens to Yume as a character in her backstory. She is led astray by her own instincts and desires and commits great crime. I've been rambling about character design. I'm having fun with it. I'm not drawing, which is a problem. Like, that's the general idea behind the name. And, like, I've got a bunch of other stuff here written. It's like, as I doodled it out, it's like, there's a little small form. And there's gonna be another form where it's like, okay, my neck is longer, my torso is here, my arms get really fucking long and gangly, and get, like, almost wyvern-esque stance. It's like, yeah, now I'm a monster. Half monster. More monstrous than this, but not full monster. It's the hybrid form. And I'm going to experiment with that a little more. Because I'm like, do I want multiple limbs? Do I want multiple whatevers? Wings? I'm not sure. The ideas are there. They just need to be expanded upon. And there's just the monster form. It's like, That's basically just going to be a full-on ass chimera. Like, we're talking the big hulking musculature. I am not even half. I am considering taking, like, a page out of Delicious in Dungeon for what they do with Fallon. Because, goddamn, that is peak character design. If you haven't read it or watched it, just do it. Dungeon Meshi is fucking great. So good. Yeah, that's more or less, like, the plans for the character. I want to figure out where I can do, like, a whole lore dump. Because I don't think I can do it on Twitter. I'll have to look into that. It's like, where's a good place to just dump, like, fucking an essay's worth of just... like, tired nonsense. Alright, let's work on getting you a head, little snake. So, I definitely want... We'll just keep on this, like, sketch layer. You know what? We're just gonna name this sketch. There. We have a new sketch layer. Probably helpful. So now we can see all the little scale details that are going to be added in the future. I need to figure out, like, again, the fluff. It's hair, but I don't want it to be, like, coarse. It's fluffy. It's very appealing to the touch. It's like a chinchilla. If a chinchilla was very humanoid and definitely venomous. There is no way you are not venomous. Might even make it poisonous. That'd be fun. Let's do both. The whole, how do you tell if something's venomous or not? It's like, it's venomous. You know it's venomous when it bites you and you die. If it bites you and it dies, you're poisonous. And if bites you and nobody dies, it's kinky. I think that's an old joke from Tumblr. I definitely stole that. I'm not even gonna fucking try to hide that. But yeah, venomous and poisonous. That sounds fun. We'll make it. Do not consume the chimera, and don't get bit by the chimera. You know, that's something I actually I'm not sure about, is like, when it comes to venom and poison, can it be selective? Need to adjust my size here. We're gonna go to the sketch. So like, where is our head? Our head is here. So like, I am on the eraser tool again. That always fucking happens. This is our mouth. I want a really wide mouth for this snake, like something that's a bit unnatural. Yeah, that could just be fun. Don't give the snake eyes, just make it like a really freaky mouth. Ooh, you know what? False eyes. It's like a scaled pattern. Like you got rounded scales and shit over here. They kind of make this ring shape. And that's like your eye. That's some trypophobia looking shit right there. But you get what I'm going for, right? It's like a false eye or something. And then it's just a mouth. It's like a stinger, but it bites you. That's a really stupid idea, but I like it. We might we might tool around with that. If not, we'll probably just stick with a regular snake head. Oh, what did I do there? Oh, brush editor is open. Ah, let's see. Yeah, that could be a fun design choice. I want to mull it over a little. It's like, when we do regular snakehead, you can kind of see one in the background there. It's like we've got the heat sensing nodes that kind of run along the distance of the mouth. You know what might be fun? Like some more symmetrical kind of deal. And then you got like the false eyes here, and then the heat sensing nodes that run along each side. I don't know how that would look. I kind of like the asymmetry. It's like you got a clearly defined upper and lower jaw. I wish there were people in chat right now, because then I could talk with somebody and actually have someone to spitball these ideas off of. But I am... There is one viewer on this stream right now, and I believe it is me. That's fine. It is fine. Everything's fine. Just keep rambling. So we want to... figure out what the hell I'm doing with this. It's like, one thing I know is, like, teeth. Is it going to be, like, one big tooth, or is it going to be a lot of small teeth? You know, like, what's it? Like, rows of teeth like a person? Or is it going to be, like, fangs, like a snake? I mean, a snake with human teeth sounds very unsettling. I don't like it. Huh. I should check that other VOD. I don't want to go over the time limit I set for myself, because I've got other stuff that needs to get done today. This is not Twitch. This is Google. Just go to... I think my video producer is what I need. Okay, that was an hour and 10 minutes. So I can go for another, like, hour and 20. I forgot when I set my timer for. I just know I was streaming for 4 hours. Or at least that's the plan. We'll see what happens. We will see. Those that don't need that open. It's like, I wanna tool around with this idea, because like that's the fun of character design. Nothing's really set in stone yet. It's like, if I really wanted to, I could come back to this face and change up some stuff. Oh, yeah, let's put another eye here, maybe a third horn. I'm not gonna do that. I don't like the 3-horn look. It's either 1, 2, or way more than that. And then you're entering, like, the crown of horns territory. Which I like messing around with that design. I think one I found that I really liked was, you got the horn coming off the head there, but then it kind of circles around there, and then it's covered in these little spikes. And you got 2 of those. So like the second one, and then that wraps around here, and then the same thing. And that's like a crown of horns. I'm using that on a different character I've been working on for a long time. I really like that design. It kind of bled in through here with these little horn, like, the other horn protrusions coming off of the main horns. It's the same idea. Alright, so I like the long mouth. That's definitely something I like. Knowing that, we are still keeping with the general idea of a snake head. So it should kind of go like this. And then you got the neck. And I'm gonna have to put the, like, horn things there. And then the last one's probably gonna be, like, here. And then right there. We got that. I think that's right. That's really fucking scuffed, though, just because of my brush size. We need to fix that. Like, this goes down here, and then you've got this part there, and then this part here, and then that connects like that. And that's more or less the whole neck done. Just like this. I feel like it needs to pip in more, like this, almost. So you got the tongue. Big old tongue. Big old tongue, the better for smelling you with. I still like the false eye idea. I might expand upon that. It's like, yeah, you've got real snake eye here. And then you've got a row of false eyes running up to the nose, which the nose should be here. It's like, boop, 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 boop. I just love playing around with things that have lots of eyes. It's definitely one of the reasons I fell in love with Styx's design so fast. That's how I found her. Was, just doom scrolling on Twitter. I saw a post like, been hearing complaints about my eyes, something along those lines. I don't remember the exact post. It's like, so here's a poll. 4 or 2 eyes. It's like 4 eyes, hands down. People always say that the eyes are the windows to the soul. Well, I like windows. Lets in a lot of light. Like, I imagine there's other problems with having, like, 4 eyes and then God forbid you need glasses. Like, you know, there's, like, cases of, like, monocles and shit where, like, one eye's weaker than the other, and then you need... Did my stream stop? Just realized my stream might have frozen. I really hope that's not the case. Uh-oh. Give this a quick refresh. Okay, no, it's just my page. Eventually, I'll probably stop being paranoid about Twitch not twitching correctly. Yeah, I like this. I don't like this kind of round scale look that I put here, so we're gonna just erase that. Oh, right, these were here for a reason, because these are like those heat-sensing nodules. Fucking stop pressing the wrong button. I do not need to save my work right now. Actually, I probably should. You know what? It's correct. I should save my work. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. Maybe we don't do false eyes. Maybe I just give the snake tail like 7 eyes. That'd be fun. You know what? This is when we do research. So let's do that. A quick little Google search here. What was I doing? Right. Let's just take a look at some, like, reptiles that have false eyes. Also, I'm going to reset the sizing on this page. Okay, it might be eye spot is what I'm looking for. Okay, this is definitely not what I want. So that's just a bunch of glass reptile eyes. Ah, here we go. Okay, so the eye spot gecko. That's cute. I see what it's doing, too. So I got the same thing here with the moth. Alright. Just look at... Look at just eye spot mimicry. Yeah, I don't really think cats have eye spots. They just have eyes. This caterpillar, this moth, a lot of butterflies. It's really common in insects. At least comparatively. Yeah, like tigers have it on their ears. Which, it's weird for such an... I guess it would be considered like an apex predator to have false eyes. Because it is very much like a prey thing. At least to my understanding. I could be wrong on that. It's like, look at these things. Most of these are like moths and butterflies. I don't think those are predators. This fish, probably not a predator. Look at its mouth. The geckos, definitely not a predator. It's a gecko. It's a predator to bugs, but like anything else. It might eat smaller geckos. That sometimes happens, but like, oh no! Look at the fucking size of this little dude. He's tiny. It's itty bitty. Little tiny little dude. Not a predator. So eye spots probably don't make much sense. I'm in a pickle now. I don't know how to continue with the design. Here it is. Crossover. I like the idea of the eye spot. Really wish there was more, like, cryptozoology on the Chimera. And if there is, I just haven't been able to find it. Like, I did a lot of research going into this and, like, mythology and that, because... Oh, duh, I'm a Chimera. Granted, it was originally more for the genetics... the genetic idea of it, where it's like splicing together multiple creatures to create a new creature in that form of chimerism, as opposed to the Greek chimera, which, memory serves correct, is more natural than it feels like it should be, because it's like this child of two different gods. It's like Typhon and Echidna? I don't know if I have that right, but anyway. Mix and match, that's the idea. It's like if I really wanted to, this doesn't even have to be a snake at the end of the tail. Could make I could just slap a whole ass fucking dog there. I'm not going to, that would look dumb as hell. What would be the most most interesting design sense. I don't want to go something super complicated either, especially with how detailed the body already is, with all the ridges and lumps, the larger plate-like scales. I still have all the fluff to put on too. It's not going to be huge. I think it's going to start get really big around here. Maybe, I'm gonna look at Mizutsume again. How do you, okay, yours is like all centered back and follows up the legs. So like if I had hair here, which I definitely need to make like a nude model of this character to figure out like where all of the scoot and fur is. It's like under the clothes there is more. I've been thinking about it, I just haven't drawn it. Because like this extends down closer to the sternum. And like these stop like right here, but this fur continues up part of the arm and covers most of the elbow. I was like, the upper thigh definitely has more of these carapace pieces. Or scoots. Like, there's definitely more of the regular scale that's gonna go alongside the hips. And like the fur is going to definitely have to be elsewhere. It's like the shoulders probably are gonna have like this here. I was like, the skin is here and then it starts to scoot, but this part of the scale goes over the shoulders. And like, I'm thinking that this alternating the 1-2 large scale pattern will probably continue up the spine and stop just at the base of the neck. So that makes sense to me. So that's definitely something I'm going to have to do, is make a nude reference sheet before anyone gets any ideas. There will be no bits showing. It is exclusively to show where fluff and scale are under the clothes, because I'll make different outfits in time. I've been liking some posts that I found online. It's like, oh, that's a cute outfit. It won't fit me, but it'll fit my model, because, I mean, I made the model the same height as me, but we don't have the same build. It's like, I'm tall as shit, she's tall as shit. The only problem is I also have stupidly broad shoulders and a barrel chest. And my boobs aren't that big. I wish they were, but they aren't. And it's like, I need to figure out what's going on under the clothes to start making other costumes. It's like, I don't know how it's pronounced. I've only ever seen it written. It's like, I know it's not Ouija, because the person I'm following who initially started talking about this was getting fucking raked over the coals about pronouncing it wrong, but it's O-U-J-I? Ouija? Ouija? I have no idea how this is pronounced, but it's like a particular subset of, I think, like Lolita fashion, which just looks really cool, and I'd love to mess around with some of those designs for Yume. That, I really want to give her, like, a JoJo hat. So, you know, like, Josuke, his hat, it's like the big brim, and then it's, like, up here, and then this kind of deal. But the idea is, like, it's torn here and here for the horns to fit through. Maybe a little at the back, like the JoJo hat. I think that'll look cool. Also looks like the Savage Deviljho armor from Monster Hunter, which I love. Like my last three streams were Monster Hunter. Alright, you know what? I am spending too much time rambling and not actually doing anything productive. Let's at least do some, I guess, base coloring. This is all scales. I can get rid of the ley line. The ley line doesn't need to exist anymore. That was just a marker to figure out where this line of scales goes. Oh, that's the sketch line I'm looking at. I'll probably also get rid of that. And we can see a very cleaned up version of what's going on here. I like it. I like it a lot. There are some problems. Namely, looking here. I think I need to change the way these curve. I think I have them curving the wrong direction. So that just looks awkward. We'll roll with it for now, but it can be changed later if necessary. What am I doing? We need you beneath the tail. We'll just do a quick color. At least block out the colors, so then we can kind of get an idea of what we're doing here. Like, we start with the basic scale tone. Is the tail line? Yeah, the tail line's opacity is gone. And still lower that a bit. I want to see those scales, because I'm going to have to go through that line and, like, erase a bunch of stuff so these scales are showing more. Alright, but anyways, we can just... Oh, I am coloring on the wrong layer. That is bad. We can just do this for the moment. It's bad, but fuck it. We clean it up after. This is more so just to kind of figure out color. Should the bottom jaw be a different color is the question. What's this? Put this underneath. This is scale base. Like this. I'll do all the highlights and lowlights later. That definitely needs to be fixed, because those two layers are different. Generally speaking, that's going to be the coloration of it. The blue scales, and then the tan underbelly. Still looks super purple on the stream. Sorry. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Nightcore playlist stopped again. I'm just grabbing hour-long Nightcore playlists. And praying to God that I don't get copyright stricken with these. It's something I'll look into for the next stream. This was very much a last-minute idea. I was like, oh, I don't have a game to play today. So nobody touched the poll. And, you know what? I said I was going to draw today. I haven't done that yet, because I've been so focused on getting other stuff done. We'll have a drawing stream. That'll be different. Should I make the big scales? Should those have the same color as the nails? Would those be like keratin deposits? What is a scale made of? You know, I was talking about earlier. I wanted to go into herpetology at one point. Why do I not know what a scale is made of? Small plate or shield forming, outer layer of skin. Yes, but what is it made of? It's like, what is it? Plate Yes, is it made of keratin? Okay, dermal elements. And enamel. Dentine. Well, that's interesting. Scales are at least fish scales. What is a snake scale? They are made of keratin. Okay. Well, that leads credence into the blue coloring, because if it's a keratin-based material, then it should look similar to the hair. That is good to know. These scoots, though... It's like, what is a scoot made of? It's like a scale... Are a scale and a scoot the same thing? Scoot similar to scales, like scales and snakes. Epidermis. Scoots are formed in the lower vascular layer. Okay, so the main difference between a scoot and a scale is what side of the animal it is created on. Interesting. Then again, I'm not entirely certain what a lower vascular layer of skin is. I'll also look this up. Connects highly vascular... What is that called? I just want to know what it is. Like, is that the legs? Is that the limbs? What is the vascular layer of skin? Hair follicles and glands? That the middle layer? Lower layer. So I'm going to assume it means like limb structure in that, which on a snake would be the underside. So these nodules on the animal are not scales, and they are not scoots, they are plates, if I am understanding this correctly. Let's take a look at what that is not what I wanted to ask at all. What is a plate made of? And then mold. Plate, anatomy, epidermis, no, Petra, cytomorph? Prehistoric jawless fish. Nope, that's not what I mean. I am not looking for a whole-ass fish. I'm looking for, like, a shell. Flat bones. Sample bony plates, dermal plates of vertebrae. Okay, no, this is exactly what I wanted. It's just talking about something completely... This animal looks goofy as shit. I don't know if this will show up. You can kind of see it here. I'm not going to drop it in. Like, look at this thing. Look how goofy this thing looks. It's a Petra cytomorph. It's a prehistoric jawless fish. It looks goofy as hell. Okay, so we are assuming this is dermal bone, which makes sense. So, I think it's safe to conclude I should color these plates, the nodules that go along the body, the same color as the nails. And this is why we do research. Even if it's midstream. Arguably kind of janky, but whatever. This is the same thing as the horns. Or at least a similar enough material that it makes sense to me to color them this way. I am in the erase mode, that's why. So like this goes here, this goes here, this goes here. I just kind of block out the color. It does not need to be perfect. In fact, it's going to look like ass to start. That's kind of the point. Because if I don't like it, it's very easy to get rid of, and I haven't put much time into it yet. Which is perfect. Then I don't have to worry if I don't like it. It's just little scribbles. I was talking with some other people on the Discord, and they're like, "Oh, I can't, I don't draw, I don't do art." And like, it's really something you can just do. Like, if anyone's listening to this, it's like, "Oh, I always wanted to draw." Just do it. Doesn't matter if you suck ass at the beginning. You're never gonna be good at everything to start. Hell, my skill isn't up to where I'd like it to be, and I've been drawing for fucking years. Aside from the earlier mentioned stint where it's like, yeah, I didn't draw for like 3 years. Like, even then, I've been drawing for a long-ass fucking time. I have years of prior experience. And the best advice I can give and have been given, just fucking do it. Just draw. Doesn't need to be good. Go draw a fucking 100 circles. And you'll have done something today. Do I have the arm? Okay, this is the left arm? Okay, this is the correct arm. I want to block in the arm color as well while I'm thinking about it. Above the arm line. It's something to do while I'm thinking and while I'm rambling. Okay, we are on the wrong... This needs to be under it. There we go. Like, it's such an easy thing to just... Like, I get not starting. Like, it's fucking hard. It's difficult. You get lost in your own fucking head, and nothing ever gets done. I'm the same fucking way. But the call is coming from inside the house. It takes a lot to get me to focus on drawing. I'm not happy that that's a thing, but it's fine. That's just how it is sometimes. It can be hard to get going. Just do it anyways. What's the worst that could happen? You don't do well to start. Somebody says your drawing looks like ass. I say my drawings look like ass all the time. You can't insult me. My brain's too smooth. Anything you say will just slide right off it. It's the kind of attitude you need to have. Just fucking do it. There's a fucking proverb or something about this. Like, when's the best day to plant a tree? The best day to plant a tree was yesterday. The next best day is today. You can say that about literally anything. You want to learn how to draw. The best day to start learning how to draw was yesterday. The second best day is today. It doesn't have to be this grand piece. Like I said, draw fucking circles. Draw something that makes you happy. Go doodle 2 characters kissing each other. Go draw somebody getting their ass handed to them. Draw stuff. Liking these colors so far. I think I'm going to keep the eye color the same. I actually might just bring that eye into this. Might make the snake eyes big. That could be interesting. But as it stands, very happy with the colorization of it. This is very basic, very messy, but it makes sense. Oh, you know what would be nice detail? Again, turning back to the earlier comment of I need a nude model. We take this detail. Like I already said, it travels up the length of the spine. And it gets broader near the shoulders and kind of sits on the shoulders too. Because you got like this, honestly, the scale texture probably just runs up the entire back. Just the whole back is scaled. Whole back is scaled, has these ridges on it. And they get wider and kind of sit on the shoulders. They're not as sharp and protruding as they are, so it'd be like these ones where they're kind of curved. I would explain like some of the... Oop, didn't mean to do that. I would explain... No, I don't want to zoom in. Some of these kind of lumps that I've got going on here. But like this is... And you can see on the fucking file name, this is my 4th revision of the character. So I just couldn't get it off the ground for the first 2, and then I went to go back to actually open up the 3rd revision and found I saved it as a JPEG, so I had no access to any of my my layers anymore, which pain. So I had a bunch of information about the character just written and scrawled there. But I'm dumb. Or, I mean, I am, but I don't know what the fuck happened there. I know I was sharing the picture around with some close friends. Okay, well, anyways, enough rambling. I can only ramble for so fucking long before it becomes nonsense. Should probably look into solidifying the sketch layer, especially now that we know the colors. We can block out the colors later. Just minimize those and scale line 2. Yeah, this is what we want. I think I want to use the stabilizer for this. I'm not certain there. I feel like we've listened to this song like 30 fucking times. You know, we're gonna try this. I think it's like copyright free. It's doing the thing where it doesn't want to load right. It's being screwy. I don't know what's causing this slowdown. Like, I've got a good computer. What are we feeling? EDM, lo-fi, a lot of sponsored stuff. It's my fucking... Pause ad block. Why is ad block paused? That's why shit's getting fucky. There's all these fucking ads trying to load. No wonder. I'll just go with the lo-fi summer beats. Oh god, I hope that's what I clicked. The whole thing just shifted right as I clicked it. It looks like that's what I got. This shouldn't bring up any copyright. I'd hope it won't. It specifically says it's Twitch safe music for streamers and creators. It's decent. It's at least good background audio. If it'll load, it is a 12-hour video. I've got it set to fucking potato quality. But with Stream open and OBS open and Krita open and Google open playing music, I don't know how functional it's going to be. I think I'll just close the Twitch window I have open. It's probably unnecessary. I can just look off of OBS. Just put this over here. Should work, unless something happens. Why is this just being so fucking choppy? Minimize it, maybe it'll play nice. Alright, that should be good. Let's get some of these plates sketched. Am I on the right color? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not on the right color. I am also at the wrong brush size. I want to take this sketch and just kill the opacity on it. There we go. Start by killing the opacity, and then we will be on the wrong line. Here we go. How's that look? Probably help if I actually minimize the right thing. That looks good. We'll work off of this for now. Doesn't need to connect, it looks fine. Wait, am I on the right thing? Scale line 2? What is scale line 2? That is nothing. Oh, you know what? It's fine if they're on the same layer. I don't need this one. We can delete this layer. So all this is fine to be on the same layer as the scoots. That's too thin. A little bit more brush pressure than that. Good vibe and music. Starting to run a little. That's spring for you, though. Got my window open. Oh no, I might be picking up some of that background audio, the highway. I hope it's not. It'd be unfortunate. That is not correct. Up and then down. That looks good. That one looks a little scuffed, but it's fine. No, not that. How does that look? That's fine. There we go. That's the midline. I think I want to change my angle for these. So I made them way too sharp is my issue. I want them to be kind of curved. They aren't supposed to be, like, pointy. They're smooth. Rounding these corners, it'll look better. Just the general shape being a triangle makes it so much easier. Go back and adjust them and make them look a lot cleaner later. It's all a process. That one did not turn out well. Go. Come up to the upper neck. Okay, this one. It's too round. There we go. Right. Alright, that should do it. I need to lower that one there. That's those scales done. Now I just need to follow this line. Bring it like up here, I think is where that one actually needs to go. Center line's wrong. There we go. There we go. There's our scales done. I want to fuck around with that head a little more. That's really just a sketch. Just adjust this. Take a quick break here, actually. we're back. And get rid of this "we'll be back" sign. Suppose I put my glove on. Put in an Amazon order, just, not yesterday, but the day before. Might have been the Friday, actually. Bought like 50 of these just plain white cotton gloves, because sick of my hand smudging up all my screen. I don't like it. Who's DMing me? The stream. Not Cinder. Cinder is going live. That's what's happening. Good for her. Hope she has a good stream. I won't be there to watch it. Why does it feel like my one headphone isn't working? No, it is. Alright, no, it's just my ear being stupid again. That happens. We want to go to the sketch layer. So I'm going to fuck around with this eye. These eyes, specifically. I like the idea of multiple eyes, which means we're going to have to redraw the top of the head. The mouth is fine. The lower jaw is fine. It's just a matter of this. So I want big eye. Actually, for better reference, let's grab the bush python again and bring you way the fuck up here. Nice and close so I can kind of reference the shape. So your eye is actually really close to the front of your head. So I think we can fit 3 in, and then it kind of goes like this. How does that look? Kind of lumpy. Which, I mean, snakeheads do kind of look lumpy. It's more so this one here. Can I draw? I can't draw over this layer. That's unfortunate. You know, I can kind of do it if I do this. Bring this up here, and then kill the opacity. And we can kind of just trace over the snake head and just see how it's built. So like, here's the eye. This is the snoot. The other eye is like here, and this one goes up over here. And the mouth is like here. That's the front of the head. This is the lower jaw. And then they've got kind of like this bulbous bit at the back. That connects here, and this comes up here, and then you have neck. So if I wanted to add 3 more eyes to this snake, say like here and here, we would carry this, and it would just kind of go up, and then down, and then up, and then into that. Following suit, go like this. Okay, that looks good. Now if we remove this, that's kind of what the snake head looks like. And just drag this off. There. So we kind of want to put this here. Maybe the eyes should descend in size, perhaps? Or ascend? Why was I putting the eye near the back anyways? Snakes usually have them near the middle of the head, not the back. Unless I'm thinking of a python. That is a good question. Why the hell was I putting that there? Why is my DPI so low? That is much better. Must have hit that by mistake. Look at a python. Not the coating, but the actual snake. No, even pythons, their eye's like in the middle of their head. It's like, this wasn't correct to begin with. That's why the eye didn't look right. A python's eye is like here, and a viper's eye is like here. Interesting. Huh. I don't know what made me think that the eye was so far back. Alright, well, the more you know. So let's mess around with this a little more. Just gonna erase this. Doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be out of the way. It's like Viper, Python, bulbous. So this should be like this, and then we have eye into nose. That one's a little off. I feel like we can kind of bump this up, and then like that, and then that. And then that. Okay. How's that look? Stupid. That looks dumb as hell. Okay, let's erase this and maybe make a descending snoot. Okay, that looks a lot less goofy. And then if we put another eye that's smaller here, and then we can kind of erase this a little bit. How does that look? Well, it makes this eye look dumb. I do like that position for the eye, and that size, actually. So maybe it's the size that's the issue. I'm making them too big. Let's try that. Let's make the eye a lot smaller. Let's try and match that size. How's that look? We can kind of bring this in, bring this up, and then just connect it in like that. How's that look? That looks a lot better. Okay, so it is just the size was too big. I think we can bring one more in towards the back of the mouth. Yeah, I like that. That looks a lot better. But even then, I think we can scooch them all forward a little. Like, maybe this one here, and this one here. Then we can kind of erase this, bring this up, and then kind of just wiggle it along here, and then that. And now he's got an underbite. That's an easy fix. Now it looks like he's got a tumor brain. Gotta just keep playing around with it until we get what we want. How's that? Get rid of this chunky jaw. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, let's play around with the actual eyes themselves, because I like the size. The shape is fine. Just needs some extra detail. And firstly, we are going to make these like heat-seeking things. I don't know what they're called off the top of my head, and that bugs the hell out of me. Like scent receptors almost. It's basically our nose, but goes all the way the length of the mouth. We'll have to look into the specifics of that and how it should sit. So this is a thing on like pythons and that. It's not really a thing on other snake species. Looking at a snake mouth though, we just scoot here. Yeah, it does kind of curl into itself. So like we should know that these kind of round into themselves. Which means this line should probably be a fair bit thicker than it is. That looks fine. No, just playing around with the eye. I think we're going to do something similar to what we did with the Yume and use the kind of goat-esque sideways irises. Snakes don't really have a sclera. It's pretty much all iris and pupil. Makes the dude look chill as fuck. Nice. Added benefit. It's a chill looking snake. Probably look a lot less chill when we get the color in there, but that's fine. I'm gonna make a new sketch layer quick, because now I want to play around with the fluff. Shit, I didn't want to duplicate the layer. That's fine, we can just delete this and call it Sketch 2. There we go. Sketch 2. So this is more so how the... This is paint layer 3. Yeah, this is the arm. I'll put base. There we go. This should be scale base. Doing all of these layers is just, it's good practice, good form, maybe might be the more apt term. Because I know when you're actually making a model, you use an absurd amount of layers. It's like just the ear here, so like the skin is its own layer, the shadow's its own layer, each little strand of fluff here is its own layer, same with the base color and the highlights on them. The earrings would be all separate layers. I think you look closely, it's like 5 different colors here for the metallic gradient. It's like all of those are its own layer, these 2 things are separate layers. So like looking at this is like what, 5, 10, it's like 30 layers for just these 3 earrings. And then probably like another 30 for the ear. Same goes for the eye, because then you got like the shadow, the iris, all these little bits here, and then the shadowing on those you'd have to track too, which I imagine that would be a pain in the ass. I got this eye design idea from a music video. I think it's Mayday by Tsukiyomi. I could have that wrong. But I'm also very happy with this. This was an experiment right here, the eye shine. I hadn't really tried to do anything like this before. I just put it on a separate layer, killed the opacity, and just used pure white. Might not have been pure white. It might have actually been the same color as the skin. Either way, it turned out really well. It's a very subtle effect, but especially over just one of these little, like, bits in the iris, it looks so good. Well, that's a fun little thing I forgot about. This is actually its own separate line. I should probably do that for these. Like, you get really up in and close, and it's like that, I guess. Except I'm on the wrong layer. Go back to the sketch layer. So if we just erase that quickly, and everything else inside this little circle, and then we go zoot. How's that look? A lot less chill, and that looks way too chunky. We need it very slim. How's that? That is about what I want. So we'll do that. That didn't turn out. It's like drawing a grain of rice. It's very, very skinny ellipses. Yeah, it still looks pretty chill, but now it looks a little more sinister. A little more mischievous. Oh, it's almost time to end the stream. I was planning on streaming till about 7 o'clock. I haven't had dinner yet, so that's probably what I'm gonna go do. I might work on this a little more. I might work on the lore. I'm not sure. I might go back to itemizing my card collection, because I hate myself and decided to make a spreadsheet. Oh well. C'est la vie. Was a very, very nice change of pace to work on art instead of gaming for a stream. I hope to all who showed up, you enjoyed my rambling and my nonsense and my very impromptu, probably mostly incorrect lesson on speculative biology. I would recommend just experiment with stuff. Maybe not like drugs and stuff, but like drawing. You can draw drugs, I guess. Don't do drugs. Unless they're prescribed to you. And you should probably... then it's not drugs, that's your medicine. Take your medicine. Don't do drugs, take your meds, drink your water. And have a good night.